Which camera is best for photography under 500? I've made a whole playlist for you, especially looking at budgets and photography cameras, all the way from 100 to 500 where we're at now. So you'll see each of those bands broken down. I'll link you in the playlist and the description. Check out that playlist. Today we're looking at £500. So for £500, what type of camera can we get? I've done some digging for you and I'm going to walk you through this. This will save you basically doing all the legwork. I'm going to show you a number of options. I've got 4 cameras, 2 Nikon and 2 Canon, and I'm going to talk through the benefits and we can see my thinking behind it and what I would buy. I'm hoping that would help you. I've done photography for a number of years, so I'm going to cover it from the angle of taking photos, but we're going to touch on video as well because that is a big element of getting a DSLR camera. You want to take decent video as well as photos. So I have some cameras up here. I found, let me bring you to the top of the list. I specifically chose certain cameras because as we're getting through our budget, you'll notice we've got a bit more money. This first option is a Canon EOS 5D Mark III DSLR camera body with a battery charger and fully working. It's marked at $499.99. That's exactly £500. So our plan was we wanted a camera with a lens because I want you to be able to take photos straight away. So this Canon EOS camera I've seen is a second-hand camera. However, we'll knock that one off our list straight away because it doesn't have a lens. The next one is a D3500 Nikon camera. That looks actually quite nice because it's got a lens with it as well, and it's below budget. It's £409, which leaves us some money to pick up an additional lens or some additional accessories. So let's bring that there and do a comparison and see what we can see with that. Okay, so which one was it? D3500. D3500, which I did not include on my list. Let me add that on. D3500, and okay, compare. Let's get rid of the other ones. Okay, so it's going to be right at the end. Let me zoom out a bit of this so you can see it, and maybe move my camera down. Okay, so the D3500 is at the end. Is a 2018 camera versus others I've picked up within that budget to see what we can compare them against. So the 4 cameras we're looking at is the Canon EOS 4000D, the Nikon D7100, a Nikon D5200, and a Nikon D3500. So between them, they're all mid-size compact SLR cameras. They're going to offer you good options for photography resolution. They're looking at 18 to 24 megapixels in terms of their picture quality. Again, these are DSLR cameras, so they've got bigger sensors than mobile phones. So take that with a pinch of salt, because sometimes you'll see mobile phone cameras with 40 megapixels and stuff. So that's something to think about. What do they offer in terms of their abilities? So they're 1.5 crop factor on the Nikon, 1.6 on the 4000D. The 5200 has a fully articulating screen. So I'm covering this from like a standpoint of someone new to photography or buying a camera. So I'm not going to try and I'm trying not going to get too into it, but I'll give you the overview of them and which one I think would be handy. So right now, fully articulating screen is a good option to have if you're doing video or this kind of stuff where you can flip it around. What else have we got? Okay, frames per second. So if you're doing some type of sports photography or even animals, sometimes if you want speed, most of these cameras are above 5 frames per second, apart from the Canon, which is only 3 frames a second. It's a newer camera, but it's not as many frames a second. So when you do some snaps in a second, it'll take 3 pictures. The 7100 does 6. Let's have a quick look at video. I'm going to keep this one short because I want to give you an overview of them. So the video wise, the 4000D offers 30 frames a second at 1080p. The D3500 offers you 60 frames at 1080p. So does the 5200 Nikon, and Okay, the D70-100 only offer, yeah, 1080p 60 frames a second. So that's a good option for video as well. They're all reasonable cameras. Weight wise, the 4000D is the lightest at about 436 grams, and the heaviest is the D70-100 at 765 grams. So you'll feel that with that's with the batteries included. So those are some cameras. Let me show you the pricing of those. So out of those right now, I'm leaning towards the D3500, but let's see if that price tallies up with that. So the 5D Mark III we were looking at doesn't come with a lens, so we're gonna take that off. I might put that in my upper tier budget of 600. So check the other video for 600, what you can get for a little bit more money. Okay, so back here we have got the D3500, which was with a kit lens. Let's have a look at that one. We've got the 4000D. Let's have a look at that one. And what else did I bring up? 750D would be a good option as well, actually. That's with the lens. You know what? I'm gonna bring that up. And D3500 again. Okay, so let's look at that. D3500, £409 with a kit lens. You've got 91 pounds left there to play about with. What kind of condition? Let's have a look. Is there any information? Okay, so with the kit lens, black condition, yeah, so the standard, there's nothing fancy about that one, but that's a good place to get started. Lower tier of the 500 budget, because you'll have accessories and bags and extra camera batteries. You could pick up a 50mm lens even. So that's one option. The 4000D newer camera comes with 2 lenses. Okay, so it's a lower spec camera, but you're getting 2 lenses with it. So sometimes it's worth picking up a lower spec body to give you the option of more lenses, because then you can decide which direction you want to go with it. So that might be handy. So 4000D, 3 frames a second, and it was what, 18 megapixels or 24 was it? Let's have a quick look. 18 megapixels for quality, but that's still sufficient. Newer camera, it was released in what, 2018? Yeah, versus the other two, which were 13 and 12. So that's not a bad start. 4000D, yeah, that's a good option there. And the 750D, you know what, I would get the 750D because it has an articulating screen. It's better than the 1000 series cameras like the 4000D, the 1300D, those kind of cameras, because I've got the 550D and that's coped very well. And these are like built like tanks, most of these cameras. It's got Wi-Fi camera. Yeah, 750D, buy that basically. £499. That is your camera to buy if you've got a budget of £500. That's what I would get. I shoot Canon. Apart from that, 3500 is £449, and that is also a strong camera, good contender. But that 3500 was 2018, so it's a good contender to the 4000D. And what did we see on that? It gave us everything we wanted. So yeah, it depends on what you're shooting and what camera you want. Again, these cameras depend on what you're shooting already. So if you're already shooting Canon, you're probably going to buy the Canon. If you're already shooting Nikon, you might buy the Nikon. If you're fresh to the game, pick one. It's not really much difference in those cameras. Similar years, and the makes have similar specs. Make sure to check out the playlist for this series of videos of which photography camera should I buy. I'm hoping you found this useful. Let me know in the comments what camera you have. I'll see you on the next budget.